Moving forward.
Right now, a future president could be running as a local candidate on your ballot. This person is vying to represent you, your family, and your community. Do you know what they are and what they stand for? Vote411.org is your tool for accurate and unbiased, up-to-the-minute election information on the candidates running in local races. Just enter your address to get started. Your vote is your power, the power to decide who represents you in 2022 and beyond. Get online, get the facts, and make your voice heard on Election Day.
Moving forward.
Hey, nothing to apologize here for. This is you know, I think as long as we open and we communicate, nobody has anything to apologize for. That's the biggest reason why I started these candidate interviews, so that way there could be a little more open communication, so people can understand what you guys are going through just as much as like what you have to promise. Because then when people kind of see, how busy, how crazy your schedules guys are, how much you're committing to doing, then maybe they can understand the candidates on a personal level rather than lumping you into this boogeyman category after you take office. Because it's weird. It's really weird. There's this disconnect.
Great concepts, man. I definitely agree.
I just feel there's a huge disconnect when it comes to people and thinking government, because like sooner or later, like when people have enough problems, they just start blaming the government, and like the government is the people. So I like us to remember we're the people in that.
Yeah, you're gonna be in situations where you got to make tough decisions, and transparency, communication. I think is the root to a lot of problems, no matter what arena in life you're in.
Yeah.
Anytime you're tasked with being the voice of the people, it's hard. It's a hard job, and you just do the best you can. Just try to lead with character and integrity, and listen to your people, listen to what they want to say. Try to educate them on all the facts. And at the end of the day, you try to be their voice.
Right.
So a little bit about me. I was born and raised on Oahu. I went to Punahou School to about 8th grade. Then I went to University Laboratory School to my junior year in high school. And then I finished up on the mainland. From there, I got a football scholarship to play football at the University of Arizona. Played there for 4 years, 5 years, including my redshirt year from 1996 through 2001. I played offensive line for them. Graduated with a degree in political science, minor in sociology. From there, I had a very, 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 very brief career with the Oakland Raiders. Came home, started coaching football, Kamehameha Kapalama. And I was working for the Department of Community Services doing it was called the Juvenile Justice Center. Basically, what we did was, it was an outreach program through federal funding that basically assessed and interviewed all first-time juvenile offenders, whether it was a criminal offense like stealing, assault, those kind of things, or a status offense, which is like a runaway or curfew violations. And based on our interviews, we had contracts with nonprofit organizations that we could send the kids to and their families to help them, whatever issues they had, whatever they're going through at that particular time. We tried to reach out and build relationships with nonprofits to help them, and just basically cut down their recidivism rate, and just try to get these kids early as possible before whatever they're going through became a problem. From then, I got hired at McCabe, Hamilton, and Rennie as a stevedore longshoreman. I was there for 14 years. I was elected as a union representative, executive board union representative in 2013. 2018, I transferred to the Big Island. Yeah, I think Oahu is just getting a little too hectic. Looking forward, I really enjoyed that neighbor island lifestyle.
Yeah.
I felt that it fit the vibe that my wife and I wanted to raise our family in, and so made the move up to the Waimea area. From there, became a union chairman. Elected the union chairman this past year, actually. So I started in January, and so I guess the question everybody asks is, why are you running for office? Being involved in the union for such a long time, being a longshoreman, as well as my background with working with I still coach too at Hawaii Prep Academy, and we do football camps, free football camps for youth in the Waimea area as well. I thought I was going to give back. I also looking at the demographic of the working men and women in our state and what's happening to them. I wanted to be an advocate for them. I wanted to try to reestablish the working class families here in the state. And there's a multitude of reasons why the working class is getting pushed out, and a lot of it is housing and education system, healthcare, and I don't think that there's a first round knockout answer. I don't think it's a home run. I think it's going to be it's a group effort from, looking at it from a labor union perspective, working with other labor unions to how do you help? How do we get involved in our communities? How do we help build programs and build housing? And it's one thing to get the housing. Okay, now how do you keep these men and women, these families in their homes? Pushing for pro-labor laws, try to advocate for the working men and women at the legislature, to fight for jobs. As technology starts to creep into all different, arenas of labor, how do you cross-train those men and women in those arenas to keep their jobs? Because technology is great, but a lot of times it eliminates the working men and women from that field. So that's the reason why I'm running. I also wanted to help our communities. Early education is something that's huge for me. I have two young daughters, 10 and 8, that both go to Waimea Elementary, and dealing with things that I think any young parent who deals with young children. Education, I feel has a power to change lives, and both my daughters are dyslexic, and we were able to catch it early. And I'm hoping and thinking we're able to implement strategies and build a really, really strong support system around both of my daughters so they can overcome these obstacles, so they can fulfill their dreams and their hopes and their desires in life. A lot of times, I think the average men and women, they don't have the resources to identify what obstacles their kids are going through. And if you can't identify those obstacles at a young age, as these kids get older, it just makes it harder and harder. And if they go undiagnosed, then there could potentially be a problem. But I'm the kind of guy too where I don't feel I'm running against my opponent, David Tarnas. I think I'm running for our community. I'm running for our keiki. Win or lose, I'll be the first guy to help him. I'm not somebody who's going to point out flaws. I'm somebody who's going to work with whoever is in that seat. I feel if you're really in it for the right reasons, win or lose, you still be there. You still answer the bell, and you still be there to service your community. So, I guess other than that, any questions for me? Anything, brother?
Dig it. So, big picture. What do you have in mind for your seat as far as like beyond just the I mean, you got a lot to unpack there, but I mean, as far as like the horizon of what the job provides once you're in, what's the big picture when you're in the seat?
Okay, I think first and foremost, you got to look at the Hawaiian community. Yeah, they got a huge. I don't want to say settlement. That's not the right word. They were awarded a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's not the answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
all-
get you.
Let's
Are
start.
you referring to the all that homestead monies and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have all the answers. I'm not a politician. I'm somebody who's trying to jump into politics as a way to service their community. I throughout this process, and especially with TMT
Oh, yeah.
and those hot button topics in our district and on our island,
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of research. And if you go back to the Hawaiian Homestead Act, you go back to the Organic Act, which I think could be mistaken, transformed into statehood the Statehood Act. There's been a lack of stewardship for the last 100 years.
Absolutely.
And it's when you really, really research everything, and of course, you learn things in school, what happened, through your Hawaiian history and culture. But to dig into what's happened and really analyze the lack of stewardship, especially for the the Kanaka on our island, you really understand where the frustration comes from. So they got a big settlement. Like I said, I got to really educate myself on the final fine print on that settlement or that award. But it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
I think we got to hold who's ever in office is to hold our leadership accountable to make sure that that money is channeled in the right direction. Housing for me, early education and healthcare are three major components. And I sit on a political action committee for a union. Been on that committee for over 10 years. And especially recently, every politician that's come through our doors, and advocated for our support. Everybody has an idea. I want to fix this. I want to fix that. Okay, how, brother? How do you do it? That's the $1 million question is the how. And for people to come in there and talk about Hawaiian homes, you got to sit down with every homestead association in the state. All different ahupua'as. They have different needs, different ideals, different concerns. To sit down with the kupuna in that particular district, and I use ahupua'a because that's kind of what it is. One man I got the farmers, the ranchers.
Yeah.
You go on Kauai fishermen, and I'm sure each district, each region. Like I said, has different ideals. So they got different needs. The Hawaiian from the Waimea is different from the Hawaiian in Keaukaua, and different from the Hawaiian in Kauai. So to understand what your needs are, to analyze and assess those needs, then you can properly strategize a plan on how to use the money to do best benefit those particular regions. Housing is always going to be an issue. It's always going to be a problem. I feel like, especially in Waimea, and it's a free country. People can buy houses wherever they want to buy houses. People work hard for their money. They want to buy a house in Waimea. Hey, good for you, brother. High fives. But because somebody paid $300,000 over asking price, and now the kupuna across the street or next door who has been living in that household for 3 generations, now all of a sudden their taxes go up through the roof. I think we've got to find a formula to keep those long-term kama'aina, keep their tax rates as low as possible, and maybe find a formula to hit some of these mainland and foreign investors who are not living here in our state full time. Hit them possibly with a higher rate. That's one component of it. Jobs, like I said, continue to push legislation My goal is, if elected, or even if not elected, I'm still going to advocate for the working men and women, and their needs and desires and dreams and hopes should be at the forefront of the legislative agenda at the state capitol. Those things, those are kind of things at the top of my head. Like I said earlier about early education, that's huge for me. Education has a power to change lives. And not just talking about college, because college isn't for everybody. Some people just don't want to go to college, or they're not good at reading. That they can build houses, they can fix diesel engines, they can do stuff that I can't even try to do. But college isn't for them. So how do we set up programs in the public high school system to prepare these guys, these keiki, our keiki, or they'll be young men and women by then, prepare them to transition into the real world so they can be functioning members of society, so that when they do acquire housing or have the ability to buy a home, they have the job to stay in the homes. And the next byproduct of that is, if it's a stable home, stable household, then there's a much better chance that their keiki will be in a better situation, better environment, and they can thrive and learn and grow as well. So I think there's a lot of different components. Like I said, it's not going to be a first round knockout. It's not going to be a home run first time off the bat, but it's going to be collective. It's going to be a collective group effort. It's going to be a team effort, with OHA, Hawaiian Homes, nonprofit organizations, county government, state government, as well as federal government as well. And, another thing too, if you kind of go back to helping the Hawaiian people in the Kanaka, there's a lot of times when, their rent, let's say they're paying $2,000 of rent. If they were to get a mortgage would be less than that, but they can't qualify for those loans. So being creative, working with OHA, working with other nonprofit organizations who can work with lending institutions to possibly be creative and modify, the qualifications to acquire loans, to get these families into homes. I think is also a component to help. So that's kind of my broad reach. Also, developing responsibly, being economically responsible in development. Conservation lands. We have a lot of ranchers and farmers in our district. We have to take care of them. It's a huge part of their lifestyle. It's been the ranchers and farmers been ranching and farming for generations. So that's what they are. That's who they are. How do we keep them here? How do we provide them the capacity to take care of their families, but also being responsible to the conservation lands. So going back, I think communication, I think transparency is huge. Anytime there's a lack of transparency, it's just a nucleus for potential problems or potential misinformation to be passed. And I think, being as honest as I can. I'm not going to all I can promise, I'll be honest. Other than that, I'm going to do the best I can. And I think coming from a labor union background, being a chairman, being a decently high level ranking member in our union, you listen to your members and you try to do the best you can to advocate for them and do the best you can to help them and their families. Right
on. So I'm glad you brought up OHA. What's your interaction with them so far?
Not much at all. Not much at all. From a union perspective, we've interviewed a few candidates. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. I'm still researching the candidates, still researching, maybe some of the things that they should or should have not been doing. I know some candidates are extremely voiceful, change of leadership. But, before I can really give you my manao on, I got to educate myself a lot more. I know they're 13th biggest landowner in the state. I think they have the capacity to really help the Hawaiians, help those people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually I had a good conversation the other day with Brendan Lee. He's running Oahu Trustee.
Yes, I met him. I met him at a function last week. He actually came and spoke to our union yesterday.
Oh, right.
Sharp guy. He got a lot of things that I mentioned earlier in my talk. He had solutions to. Yes. So I think those kind of partnerships need to be cultivated and need to be perpetuated to help. And when you bring everybody together into a room and you have dialogue, and you listen to other people's thought processes and their views on things. Hey, they might have a view you never thought of. They may have a thought process or a plan that, hey, it might actually work. So get a bunch of smart guys in the room and, hey, let's just figure this thing out, man.
Right on. Well, I definitely say keep up with Brendan. He's probably the most vocal out of the whole group, especially
Oh.
since a lot of those guys are kind of old dog, and so you never know who's gonna get replaced in winter if they come out of their cave for do anything. So
Yeah. No, he's a good guy, bro. Very, very smart.
yeah,
Has a finance background, so I think we're talking about lending institutions, mechanisms to help fund people who have the payment capacity. They have the ability to pay the note. They just don't have credit. They don't have the qualifications to get a conventional loan. Working with guys like Brandon, can help basically. Or have you ever heard of housemaui.org under the Hawaii Community Foundation?
no, could you fill me in on that one?
Yeah, so it's under Hawaii Community Foundation, and basically housemaui.org is they're trying to build homes on Maui that hit different demographics. So as a union representative, I'm trying to help our union members. So we have the longshoremen, they make a certain amount of money. You have the hotel workers, they make a certain amount of money. These housing projects hit the different demographics, hit middle class, hit lower middle class, and the AMIs, they're able to work with. Basically, it's a one-stop shop. They help you improve your credit. They help you consolidate debt. They give you a strategic plan to either rent to own or to be able to buy one of the homes that they're building. So I think partnering with guys like that, and I'm sure there's a lot more across the state. I think definitely is advantageous for us too.
Right on. So we don't have much time here left in our conversation. So last couple questions here. One, what is something from your point of view that the folks of the community can come out and do for Hawaii right now?
Oh man, besides come out and share your manao and thoughts, I would say stress the value of education, stress the value of communication, and maybe be patient. Be patient, I would say. Like I said, the $1 billion got put into housing. A whole bunch of money got put in, for the Hawaiian homesteads and the Hawaiians. A whole bunch of money went to education as a whole. I would say be patient. Please be patient and give your leadership a chance. They did a hell of a job. Getting all this money allocated for different areas. Please be patient and work with them, but also get involved, and also register to vote. Please register to vote. Everybody's voice matters. Their vote counts. There's a point in time when our people couldn't vote.
Yep.
So to not exercise that to not exercise that right, I feel is disrespectful to our people who fought for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that come on and vote, say your piece, be patient, because like I said, it's not going to be a home run the first time off the bat, but also be accountable too. Do your part. Please educate yourself. For the young men and women in high school, find a trade. College is not something for you. Hey, be a diesel mechanic. Work construction. Those kind of things. Those trades, especially on our island, trucking. Those things. They're not going to build the H3 freeway on the Big Island anytime soon. Mm-hmm. So you're going to need truckers to transport goods across between the port of Kauai High and the port of Hilo. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say for now. And just please get out there and vote, man, because your voice does matter.
Right on. So in closing, could you tell everybody how to connect with you online and in person as you campaign?
Okay, so I got voteMakaiFreitas.com. My wife is the technology genius in the family, so she's quarterbacking that. Or you can call me 808-778-7666. It's 808-778-7666. Please reach out to me. If I can't answer the phone, I will definitely get back to you as soon as I can. And I look forward to hearing from everybody.
Right on, bruh. Well, mahalo for taking the time out of your crazy schedule and everything you're committing to do for our community.
No problem.
I
But
would love to have you back on when you're available again.
yeah, for sure. And is that bakery Four Sisters still open on Maui? The
Which
butter
one?
rolls.
Which one? Oh, Four Sisters.
Yeah. Is that place still around?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that place, man.
Oh yeah, we
But,
even we actually I was working some small commercial projects. We had them couple days for last day of work. It was pretty good.
oh,
And
right
then
on, brother.
every once
Right
in a
on,
while,
man.
catch them in the little trays at Pukalai Super Ed.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. But I'll be in your show anytime you need me. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, awesome, bro. Well, you have a good rest of your day.
You too, buddy. Take care, man. Have a good one.
You too. Aloha. Rabbit Holes is a Manavakau production. This episode was produced by Kawika Hoke and Sarah Rodriguez. Make sure to subscribe and follow on your favorite podcast platforms to add our weekly episodes to your queue.